Hello and welcome to Farming Simulator 25. We're meaning to get this playthrough started for some time and I've finally gotten around to it, so let's pick a map and dive in. I think I'm going to go with Zielonka for this playthrough, and as opposed to my last playthrough on FS22 in Polezhny, I'm going to be starting from scratch, and I'm going to be starting with a $100,000 loan, and that's it. I'm going to put the economy on normal, just because I don't want it to be too much of a grind. I'm happy with grinding a little bit, but the hard economic difficulty just makes it too much of a grind. So I'm going to go with normal economic difficulty, and I'm going to load into the game with you. Before we load in, got a number of mods enabled. They're mostly vehicles, but there are some quality of life and gameplay mods. Some of the gameplay mods, actually, I'm going to disable better contracts because I believe there's some kind of bug with weeding contracts. So yeah, disabling better contracts. Most of the other mods are vehicles. We've got the enhanced loan system on, which will make it interesting when paying back the $100,000 loan. I'll explain that a little more when we dive in. And one of the other mods that we have is something I started playing towards in FS22, and that is the VIP order manager. So we're going to be letting the needs of the VIP order manager define the direction of our farm. So let's jump in, and I'm loading in with you because the VIP orders are generated when you first load in, and I don't want to give myself a preferential start without you. So we're going to see what the VIP orders generate, and that's going to define the direction of our farm once we get up and running after grinding out enough money to buy a field and a harvester. So let's dive in. I'm going to skip the character creation. So you can see there the current VIP order is level 1, and the requirement is 10 chickens of 16 months old and 1,000 eggs, and we'll get a 22,100 euro payout. If we take a look at our VIP orders here, so we've got the chickens and the eggs, and then for level 2 we have oat, straw and barley. Level 3 we have some sheep and I think they're goats, chicken and wheat, and then the further levels will generate as we complete the previous ones. So this is going to define the direction of our farm once we have enough land and money to start working towards it. But to start out, we are starting with just 100,000 euros, and that 100,000 euros is a loan, and that loan is a part of the enhanced loan system. So rather than just paying the interest until I can afford to pay off the loan, we're actually paying back almost 3,000 euros every month towards it. So we need to make sure we keep our balance from going negative by grinding out some contracts. Now what I think I'm going to do is start off by doing some deadwood contracts because you get to sell the wood. I'm going to try and chop them up to a size where I get a decent amount of money for them. I think like 6 to 8 meters is the ideal length. That's based on FS22. We could also look at the wood transport contract, although looking at that, it's literally transporting them all the way across the map. 19 trees or 19 logs. That's going to take probably 2 to 3 trips. Not sure that's worth it. So I think we're going to stick with deadwood. We might do some fertilizing as well. We're going to have to buy that equipment eventually. We're going to need a fertilizer, a tractor, trailer. So anything that we're going to be able to use in our farm, I'm going to be buying equipment for. So with equipment in mind, let's take a look in the discount store first of all to see what is available. Now what you might notice in the discount store is that there are a lot more things for sale than there usually are. That's because I have a mod called Sales Plus installed, and that just adds a lot more items to the vehicle store, and it also prices them based on their usage. So you can see, for example, this Q6M front loader attacher is only 18% discount. In the base game, I believe most of the things you see in the store are 30 to 60% discounts. You can see the Kubota here, only 6% discount because it's lightly used, only 9 hours. And then in contrast, this machine here, 51 hours, so it's at a 48% discount. So let's go through the store and see what we can pick up for our first contract. I think I'm going to go with that Deadwood contract. So we need a tractor, a decent trailer, and a front loader, and what else do we need? Tractor, front loader, and obviously the log fork. So let's take a look through and see if we can get anything in the discount store. If not, we're going to have to buy a cheap tractor to get ourselves started. It's not looking too good. What we have in the store right now, tractor there at 90,000. That's way too much. Yeah, unfortunately, nothing in the store. I don't want to spend 70,000 on a tractor, so let's see what we have in the way in terms of a small tractor that we can buy brand new. I do have quite a few mods installed for tractors just to get us started, but we do have some requirements for the initial tractor. Obviously, it needs to be compatible with a front loader. It needs to be able to operate that front loader, so it needs to have enough horsepower. And we also want a pretty decent sized fuel tank, so we're not constantly refueling it. Maybe something like this will do the job. I don't think this can do... this can't do a front loader. No front loader there. See the John Deere here. This does have a front loader attacher, and it does have hydraulics at the front. But I feel like that's a little too predictable. I almost don't want to go with this. So I'm wondering if one of our mods here is these SDF tractors. This might be a good place to get started. You can have a front loader attacher. If we look at the hydraulic configuration, we can have hydraulics on the front. It's fairly low on the horsepower. Not sure how much that's going to matter. Maybe we can have a larger fuel tank. Looks like the larger fuel tank takes away the front loader attacher, and there's no option to add it back, so we can't have a large tank on there. We're gonna have to go with this with a small tank. I don't know what these are. Oh, okay, we can have a Lamborghini tractor. Clarkson's Farm vibes. Should we go with the Lamborghini? You've got to go with the Lamborghini, really. We'll leave the wheels as standard. Front hydraulics for the configuration, and we'll go with a quick front loader attacher. Let's buy it. So 47,500, and let's next buy the tools for it. So we want the front loader. So we have the Q4M here. I did notice that there was a Q6M in the store, but it's a horsepower rating of 120 and we only have 102. So if we take a look at the discount store, let's see where it was. Yeah, it's Q6M, and how much is it? It's only 18% off, so we're only going to be saving 600 over the Q4M. I think I'm going to go with the Q4M because I'm not sure what that horsepower rating actually does or means. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Q4M, so let's pick that up. Can we change the color for free? Maybe change it to a color that's slightly more like our Lamborghini. I'm not actually sure what color the Lamborghini is. I think it's something like that color, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe it's a darker. Yeah, we'll go with that. Considering the color is free, we'll go with that. And we need the log fork to go with it. Okay, so we'll pick up the log fork. We're already down to 42,000 of our left of our $100,000 loan, and we still need to buy a trailer. So let's take a look under here, see what we can do for trailers. I do have quite a few trailer mods, so let's see which one we're going to go with. I don't want to go with this. This looks a little small for our logs. Farm Tech, we could go with that. Again, it still looks a little small. That definitely is too small, I think. Now they did have this in the discount store, but what configuration can we have here? Don't think this is going to be suitable for logs, unfortunately. And I don't really want to be spending any more money. So what about this? These trailers here. I generally don't like trailers with dollies on the front because they're really difficult to maneuver, so I'm going to skip out on that. I think this might be our best option, something like this Strautmann. It looks like the extensions don't actually cost any extra money, which is fantastic. Probably not that realistic, but that's how the mod is configured. Now, to carry logs, I think we want something like this so we can kind of drop them in at the front and have them hanging over the back. Or maybe even something like that. Well, what do we want actually? This maybe. That's almost there, although they could slide off the back with that one. There we go, that's what I think we want. So we can stack them pretty high with this configuration of the trailer. They'll be pointing downwards, so they won't slide off the back while when we're trying to place them. I think this is going to be just perfect, so we'll pick this up as well. Okay, so I think that's everything we need to get started. Let's go check our contracts. So we've got a whole load of contracts come in now. We've got a fertilizing one here, but let's stick with this deadwood contract. Let's go cut down some trees and hopefully sell them for a decent profit. How did I do with my color matching? Not too bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. There we go, let's get that attached. So I did actually start a new series of FS25 on release date at Riverbend Springs, but I found the functionality just a little bit basic with no mods, and so I found it less than engaging, and so I decided to wait until some of the mods and patches had come out. So what are we doing for this playthrough? Like I said, we're going to be grinding our way up to our first field, maybe our first harvester, so we can harvest other people's fields, and then we're going to be following the VIP orders. I'm going to be leaving the playthrough, the play speed, set to 5x, not going to be slowing it down for any reason, and 1 day per month is going to be the standard. I might try something a little different with the length of the videos. I've noticed on YouTube that a lot of the other videos are more than 40 minutes long, so I might try making the episodes 40 minutes to an hour rather than keeping them to 30 minutes. Interested to know your thoughts on that. How long should my episodes be? I'm thinking around 45 minutes at the moment, so I'll aim to keep them to that until I hear otherwise via any feedback. Some of the repetitive tasks I will be time-lapsing with some music, and because this is a new series, I will be able to reuse some of the music I used in my last series and try my best not to repeat the music, but because the last series was 83 episodes in the end, I was finding it difficult to find suitable music that I actually enjoyed to add into the videos. Okay, so are they literally right up in the forest? Looks like they might be. Okay, I think I can see one over there on the right. Yeah. I've never visited this area of the map before. I have had a little look around the map in both FS22 and FS25. Yeah, that's one of our trees there. So, let's detach the trailer. And, oh, something else I'm going to have to buy is a chainsaw. Can't be chopping the trees down with a log fork. Which chainsaw shall we go with? Go with the Stihl or the McCulloch? Let's go with the McCulloch. Alright. So, first things first. Oh, there's a couple of settings I want to change in the menus. So, first thing I'm going to do is turn off the fieldstone. That's just annoying. Turn off the automatic engine start. Turn off all of the automatic buying. And the paint cost, I find that really annoying, so I'm going to turn it down because the paint deteriorates way too quickly. So this is a mod I've installed to decrease the paint cost. Don't really feel like it's cheating because I never repaint the vehicles anyway. It costs so much unless I'm going to sell them, so it doesn't really matter whether we put it at 25 or 100. And one thing I'm going to do for the enhanced loan system is just enable multiple special repayments per year. So if we do somehow make enough money to make multiple repayments, we can do that per year. The interest rate for the loan is going to be dynamic, so it's going to change every month. And I think that's all I want to change for the settings. Eventually I will turn off the info triggers and the interactive zone markers once I get myself used to the game. So, got our chainsaw. Let's get over here to this tree and I need to try and chop it down in a way that it falls across the path. So let's move our tractor out of the way. And try and chop it so that it falls in this direction. Let's try. So if we want to do that, we're going to chop it, I guess, like that. And then let's get down as low as we can because this wood is going to be ours. So let's see if this works. Yes, there we go. It's exactly pretty much the direction I wanted to chop it in. Okay, let's get the branches stripped. Perfect. Is this stripped completely? Not quite. There we go. A couple more. Okay, I think that's done now. So, what we want to do is cut it into 6 to 8 meter lengths. So I think somewhere around here is good. About there. Maybe that's a little long. I think maybe about here. Okay, how long is this piece? 4 meters. So we want a little longer than that. Or maybe 6 meters is a good length. I think maybe here. We'll get this right. We'll figure it out. And we will get it exactly right. There we go. Okay, how long is this piece? 5.4 meters, that's a bit more like it. I think we'll just chop this piece roughly in half. It's a bigger piece, so maybe around here. There we go. So, how many trees are actually in this contract? I didn't look. We have 6 trees to remove. Okay. So this is just the first of 6. Alright. Let's put the chainsaw away. And let's pick up the pieces that we can by hand and dump them in the trailer. Now, I know that... I feel like... It could just be me, but I feel like these things are really annoying to manipulate. Let's see what we can do here. There we go. That's just about perfect, I think. Yeah, that is perfect. So, just going to pick it up and shove it down as far as it will go. Okay, let's see if we can pick up the next piece, or is it too heavy? Yep, these 3 pieces, or these 2 pieces are too heavy. There's another piece here that we can actually pick up, though. Where is it? There it is. This is a fairly light piece, and the other 2 pieces we'll have to pick up with the log fork. I wonder how much we'll get for this load. I think what I'm going to do is get all of these trees chopped down before, or as many as I can until I fill up the trailer, before I take it over to wherever gives the best sell price. So I'm not sure where that's going to be, but we will find out soon enough. Is that in there? Yeah, it's in there perfectly. Okay, so let's jump in the tractor. And let's pick up these other 2 logs. We're going to be able to pick them up together. Probably not, right? Let's see. Okay, nice animation showing the log fork completely closed. Okay, I'm going to try and pick them both up together just because I think it's going to be quicker. So we'll reverse ourselves around here. There we go. Get them lined up nicely. Now let's get... can we get them both picked up? Oh, we can. Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to quickly strip those 2 extra branches off, because if this is the same as FS22, you get more money for stripped trees than you do if they have branches on them. So we do need every penny we can get to get our farm up and running, so we will be stripping the logs when we pick them up if we find they still have branches on them. I want to get these loaded as neatly as possible, because I want to fit, hopefully, if I can, all 6 of the trees for this contract in this trailer. That's not ideal. There we go. It's hanging out the back a little bit, but that's okay. We can have it hanging out the back by a couple of meters. This trailer, I think it has the straps. Actually, let's take a look at that. Does it have the straps? I think it does, right? Yes, it does. There we go. It does have straps. Okay, perfect. Let's find the next tree. Is that a tree up here? Is this one? Yeah, this one's going to be wiped out, and there's another one just over there by the looks of it. Okay, so let's get our tractor, and there's a third one there. So let's get our tractor up here to the top of this hill, and we can continue chopping down the trees and making our first bit of income. I think I'm going to time-lapse some of this. I'll come back to you once we've done some more chopping. It looks like the trailer's getting fairly full, so I think I probably could have done a little bit of a better job packing it, but it's not always as easy as it seems when you're loading a trailer. So I'm going to secure these tie straps, zip straps, whatever you want to call them, and let's go sell what we've already cut down. This is 4 of the 6 trees, so this is a good portion of so it's about 66% according to the contract. So let's take a look where we're going to sell them. To remember where it is in the new farming simulator, it's in here, and then let's scroll all the way down to the bottom where the wood is. So not at its premium price right now, but there's not much difference between the premium and the non-premium, and the best place to take it to looks like the carpentry. So where is the carpentry? Where's the carpentry? Oh, it's just down there. Perfect. That is just ideal. I was hoping that we wouldn't have to go across the entire map to sell them, and my hopes have been fulfilled. So let's get down to the carpentry and get these logs sold. What's the best way down the hill here? Thinking, yeah, I think we'll be okay. Think we'll be okay going down here? We're about to find out. Yeah, I think we'll be okay, won't we? Yeah, just fine. As long as we go straight down and not down sideways, then we won't tip over. Okay, let's get over to the carpentry, get these logs sold, and then we can look at how much we get. So the deadwood contract itself doesn't pay that well, but where's the entrance to the carpentry? That's around the front here. Yeah, the deadwood contract itself doesn't pay that well. 900. Why did he stop in front of me? Come on, move. As I was saying, the deadwood contract itself doesn't pay that well, but the fact that you can sell the trees makes it, I think it's going to make it worthwhile. Anyway, we'll see. If the prices are anything like they were in FS22, then I think this might be a very lucrative way to get ourselves started. We will see. We're just about to find out. Okay, so I'm clearly having reversing issues here. I think you can tell I haven't played the game for a while. Okay, let's hope that that's in the area. Shut our engine off. Let's head over to the sell point. Okay, so 13,000 euros there for that load. So that's not too bad. That's pretty much paid for our trailer, I think. So let's go down. Let's go cut the other 2 trees down and get them sold off, and then we can call this contract complete. I think this is going to be a relatively good way to get ourselves off the ground and get our first field. What I'm thinking for the first field, based on the VIP contract, chicken and eggs, I am thinking that we should probably look at getting a harvester first of all. I do have some mods for some relatively low price harvesters, so we're not going to have to save up a couple of 100,000. I think the cheapest harvester I have is about 75,000 plus its header, so we'll look at getting that, and then we can... Come on, what's this tractor doing? Doesn't want to go up the hill. Yeah, so we can look at buying the cheapest harvester just to get us started out, and we can then plant barley in our own field, I think, is the best yielding grain crop for the chickens. And then we can also use the harvester to do some contracts next year in other people's fields. And that will net us a little bit of additional income from the leftover crop that the contracts usually give you. That's the plan. Finally, this tractor's made it up the hill. Not the most powerful tractor at 102 horsepower, but it will do the job for now. You've got to start somewhere. Okay, So there's one of the remaining 2 trees. So let's get that cut down. Which way do we want it to fall? Let's have it falling over in that direction. So we'll chop it like that. As close to the bottom as we can. More wood the better. And then we just need to, once we've taken this tree apart, we just need to find the final tree. Okay, so we are done chopping down our 6 trees. Let's get over to the carpentry and sell these last 2 trees. Let's try going in the back way here, see if we can... I'm not even sure if this is a vehicle entrance. Well, it is now. It's my vehicle. It's an entrance for the Lamborghini. Lamborghini says and does what it pleases, apparently. Okay. Let's get to the logs into the tipping area, and then we'll get these sold off and see how much we made in total from this contract. Okay, so let's see. So another 6,500. That's about 20,000 in total. Plus the 900 for the contract, so that's not too bad. Okay, so what's the time? It is 1:10 in the afternoon. Let's see what other contracts we can take care of. I have some baling contracts there. We don't really have the ability to bale and pick up bales at the moment. Oh, by the way, no renting equipment to do contracts. The equipment has to be our own equipment. That's why we can't just pick up a ton of contracts. There are these 2 some fertilizing contracts here. I think this might be worth taking a look at. We could do 32 and 19. They're fairly close together. We can buy a fairly cheap fertilizer. Let's see what else we have. With a wood transport contract, but that's 19 logs across the whole map. I don't think that's a good deal. There is a mod that I downloaded called Supply and Transport, so this might come in handy once we start actually producing. Look at the prices on some of these supply and transports. Like, they are quite a lot. So 58,000 litres of barrels and 120,000 litres of cotton, but those payouts are absolutely incredible. So yeah, something to bear in mind for later on in the game. I think I'm going to take these 2 farming contracts, 19 and 32. So take that and 32. Let's take a look at buying a fertilizer spreader. Discount store is going to be our first port of call for everything while we're getting started. Didn't see anything in there this morning, but maybe something has come up since we started. No. Nothing in the discount store. Let's take a look what we have in terms of spreaders. Where are they? Here they are. Okay, so I downloaded a couple of additional mods. I felt like there wasn't really that much of a selection. And I think what I'm going to do... I don't really want to go with this because it's absolutely tiny. And I think in terms of just grinding out and constantly refilling, the 300 litres. I don't think this is the best option. I'm willing to spend a little bit more money, I think, and go with this. I think we'll be able to recoup this fairly quickly. It's got a much wider working width. It can handle a lot more, it can store a lot more fertilizer, and I think it's going to be a lot less grindy than this one overall. Yeah, this one's also fairly cheap, has an okayish working width, but I think this one's a good combination of width and price. So let's pick this up. And also, we're going to have to pick up some fertilizer. So we'll pick up 2. And we'll get over to the store and get these loaded up. I don't think we need a pallet fork. I don't think we need to lift the big bags right now. We'll leave the fertilizer at the store. We'll leave the trailer at the store. I'm sure the store owners won't mind. They're happy to help out the new farmer in town. So we're going to leave our stuff there. We might even use Grandma's house to sleep in when we get tired later. We'll see. Okay, so we're over at the store. Let's drop off this trailer. We'll leave it here for now. And let's pick up the fertilizer spreader and the fertilizer. That trailer's a little too big for this tractor, I think. But it'll do for now. Okay, loading up on fertilizer here. Alright, let's get over. I wonder if I should take off the front loader. I think I will. Although actually, no, I'm going to leave it because it adds a little bit of extra weight to the front of the tractor. I think, yeah, it's a good idea to leave it. So, where are we going? We are going left and then right up to the top of 35 and then taking a right. Okay, let's get these fields fertilized. Okay, so that's these 2 fields almost done. The GPS steering in FS25 is an absolute godsend, but doesn't sometimes work too well when you're just trying to get the field done, because this field didn't need 2 passes at 27 meters. Rather than change the width, it's easier just to fertilize manually while looking at the map in the lower left corner to make sure you are catching all of the field. Okay, that's those 2 contracts done, so let's complete those 2. What else do we have? Got another deadwood contract in the same area as before. 7 trees, 1,050. That's going to be around another 20,000 for us. I think that might be worth doing. And the only other option we have right now is the fertilizing contract. I think we're going to take this deadwood contract and make ourselves another 20,000 euros. I don't think we've got any other options really. With transport still, stone picking, which I don't really want to do. We don't really have the funds to buy a sprayer. The rock removal is going to require more machinery than we have. We don't have the funds to buy a skid steer at the moment, and the rock cracker or whatever it's called. So I think we're going to stick with this. I'm not going to do this fertilizing contract. It's not worth going over there to do that. So let's take this deadwood contract. Okay, back over to the store to pick up our trailer, and we'll deposit this spreader at the store, and then we'll head back up to that area to cut down the rest of those trees, or cut down some more trees. I'm looking forward to building out our farm here. in Zielonka. Interested to see where the adventure of following the VIP orders will end up taking us. I know in my FS22 series at Pelezhny, I didn't think about following the VIP orders until about episode 50. I always had it installed, but I was kind of just doing whatever came across with no real direction, and then I thought that following the VIP orders would be a good way to continue the series. So doing it right from the start is certainly going to make our farm, the way our farm develops, very interesting. Okay, so we're back over at the store. We can drop off our spreader and pick up our trailer again. Let's see exactly where this deadwood is. Is it exactly the same place as before? I think it's like a fairly similar place. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same or not. Okay, let's head back over there. 7 trees to chop down. Wondering how long it is going to be before we can buy our first field. And I'm thinking, should we buy the field first? I think actually we're probably going to have to buy the harvester first and add the harvesting to our contracts for next year, because we're not going to be able to plant oats in the field until we get a planter of some kind or a seeder of some kind. So that will... Our first seeder is probably also going to require a cultivator. So that's going to be a fair amount of expense. I'm going to have to see how this plays out. We will see in the next couple of months. I think I'm mostly going to stick to 1 episode a month, although depending on how long the episodes end up being, I might squeeze 2 or more months into an episode, especially over winter when there may or may not be that much to do. Might fit the whole of winter into 1 episode. Let's find these extra trees that this fine gentleman wants chopped down. It's like we're heading into the hills again. Let's take a bit of a run up. Hopefully tractor won't struggle quite as much to get up the hill if we take a run up. Or maybe not. It looks like our first tree's ahead of us just here. Okay. So, let's start getting these chopped down now. How am I going to do this? I think if I do it facing that way, then I'm going to have to pick the trees up off the, pick the logs up off the hill, but it's really the only way I can do it, I think, because we don't want the tree falling there. So, let's do that. Okay, chopping it as low as we can again, just to preserve and salvage as much wood as possible. That's not an ideal place for it to fall. I might have to try and drag it up the hill a little bit with the tractor. We'll see. Let's get the branches stripped off of it. Okay, we can probably pick this bottom piece up, so let's and then if we chop this one short enough, we can probably pick this one up by hand too, so let's chop it there. And then these 2 pieces, yeah, we'll chop these in half. Okay, let's see what we can pick up by hand. Definitely pick this piece up by hand. Oops, I dropped it. Let's Get it in the trailer. They're really difficult to manipulate, these logs. Is that in there as much as far as it can go? Not quite. Okay, so we'll grab it at the end here. We'll shove it in there like that. There we go. Okay, next piece. Can I pick this up? Just about 193 kilos. Clearly, I've been going to the gym to be able to lift 193 kilos with one hand and just walk around with it. Okay, let's get it loaded. Okay, that's our second log in there. What about this piece? Can we pick this up? No, not quite. Okay, so let's get the tractor out. It's kind of difficult to see in this part of the woods. So, hope I'm not moving the camera around too much. Trying to do my best to keep it as steady as possible. How am I going to approach this? I think I'm going to go around the other side, because then once I have the logs, I don't have to turn around in a tight circle with all that weight at the front of the logs. So yeah, I think this is the best way to do it. Okay, I'm going to get some trees cut down and I'll rejoin you shortly. Okay, so that is 4 trees out of the 7 we've cut down, and I'm just going to pick up this last log and check that the carpentry still offers the same price. I might just take it to the carpentry anyway, regardless of the price, just because driving across the map, the extra fuel I'd use will probably offset any price difference. So let's get the trailer hooked up to the tractor. We'll quickly check the price, and then we'll get our next load of logs sold. Okay, we've got that loaded up. Okay, where are we taking them? Let's see, prices. Yeah, still the carpentry is the best place, so let's head over there now. Let's get this low down so we've got a lower center of gravity. Now how are we going to get down to the carpentry from here? First thing to do is to turn ourselves around. And find the best way down this hillside. Let's head over here. Looks like that's another one of our target trees right there, so we'll come back up here and take care of that in a second. Oops, what have we just bumped into? Is it this tree? Yeah, it's this tree. Okay, maybe we can go down this way instead then. Looks like a pretty steep slope, but let's see. There's only one way to find out, right? Oof. That's not what I was trying to do. Okay, down this piece of the hill. Let's see the next piece. I think we can get down through here. Yeah. Okay, we're at the bottom of the hill finally. Our tractor survived, just. Let's see how much we get for this load of deadwood, and then I think we'll do the next set of deadwood, and then maybe call it there for the month of August. We'll see what comes up. Let's try this whole reversing thing again. Let's try and make sure we don't hit this. There we go. Oops, not quite. There we go. Okay, so let's sell this log on the front first of all. Not bad, 1,500 for that single log. Not complaining. Let's get the trailer in there and see how much we get for this load. Okay. Here we go, 11,400. Not to be sniffed at this point. So we're up to 49,000. We own our tractor, our trailer, the front loader, the log fork, and our fertilizer, which still has about 75% fertilizer left in it. So we're not doing too bad here. Let's get back up the hillside and take care of the rest of these logs. Okay, so all of our trees are cut down, we are all loaded up, so let's head back down to the carpentry and get this wood offloaded and see how much money we've made. So first load for this particular job was 11,500, I think, so I'm hoping this will be 9,000 or so. Let's see. So make sure we get down the hill in one piece, first of all. There we go. Trying to find the least steep way to get to the bottom. Alright. We'll sneak in through the back way this time because we're not holding a log in our log fork. So let's sneak in round here. The special Lamborghini entrance. Not to be used by other tractors. Okay. Okay, let's see how much we've made. There you go, 9,870. Not bad at all. So we're up to 59,000 euros just from our first month. And we own a new tractor, new trailer, front loader, log fork, and a fertilizer spreader. And enough fertilizers to last us a couple of months. Let's collect this contract. There's another 1,000 or so there. And just before we finish off, let's see if there's any other fields that's worth doing. There's these couple of fields over here, but it's not worth going back to the store, picking up the spreader and then doing any of these. So I think we will skip that until next month. Let's get back over to the store and we will see if it's worth doing that additional fertilizer job on the bigger field on the other side of the map. We're starting to lose light here, so I'm almost thinking that we should just skip through to next month and continue on then. Definitely needs some fuel. Used 2/3 of a tank for today's contracts. It's not surprising. This tractor only has, I think, a 140 litre tank. I think that's the size of it. So what I'm going to do is detach the trailer. Just take a quick look at contracts again quickly. I don't think we're going to do these. This fertilizing one on the other side of the map. We might do it next month if it's still there, but I think I'm going to skip it for this month. What I am going to do is just head down to the fuel station and fill up my tractor with fuel. I will get that done off camera. So I hope you've enjoyed the first episode of this Zielonka playthrough. Don't forget to do the likey subscribey thing if you haven't already, and I will see you in September. Till then, bye for now.